Welcome back to Talking in Spirals, Season 3, Episode 9, and I cannot believe this season is almost over. So sad.
We're about to wrap up our third season when it feels like just yesterday this podcast was only a glimmer in our eye. So
So dramatic.
it's actually happening. We're doing it. I'm very proud of us for actually sticking to this. And thank you guys so much for listening. We love being here. We love to talk into these microphones about stuff that we care about. So, yeah, just another sappy moment of us sitting in disbelief that we do this every other week.
We love you guys.
So, before we dive into today's episode, we want to thank our sponsor for today's episode, which is Flora Flora. Flora Flora makes the most beautiful shampoo and conditioner bars. Gone are the days of these generic shampoo and conditioner bars that you can just pick up at the zero waste store back in 2017 that were not actually formulated to feel like beautiful luxury hair care. These bars are so stunning. This branding is gorgeous. And my favorite part, the scents are so beautiful for these bars. I also use their hair oil. Flora Flora is a small, woman owned, sustainable business with a focus on reducing environmental impact while also not sacrificing in the hair care department. They make beautiful, handcrafted products that can help you get the best hair ever while also having these beautiful, sustainable products to love and use every single day.
They are 100% paraben, sulfate, silicone, and artificial fragrance free. So, any of the other sensitive skin girlies, this is definitely the product for you.
I have been using their hair oil every time I use heat on my hair. And not only does it leave my hair feeling so soft and moisturized, it also smells so delicious, like this light, beautiful fragrance. I have the late summer scent for the hair oil and the bars, and it's gorgeous. It kind of makes me feel like I'm wearing like a very light perfume when I like flip my hair over my shoulder or something. So that's a really nice perk. A lot of sustainable products are just fragranced with like, lavender, orange. These are like beautiful crafted scents, and the products actually work. So, we love to support a sustainable woman owned business, and we love to share those businesses with you guys, our listeners.
Flora Flora gave us a discount code for you guys to use. It's Spirals15, and as always, we'll have all that information in the episode description.
You can shop Flora Flora with our code Spirals15 to get 15% off your first set of shampoo and conditioner bars or anything else on their site. They have tons of other products on their site, like biodegradable cases for their bars, a chiffon bar saver bag. They also have, of course, the hair oil. Their hair mask is really beautiful. You can also get a sample set of the bars and some silk scrunchies. We only have good things to say about Flora Flora. So thank you, as always, to Flora Flora for being the sponsor of this podcast. And thank you guys for supporting our sponsors. So, today's episode, we wanted to dive into how we remain afloat when the world feels heavy. That seems like a pretty intense topic, and it's because it is. But as always, we're going to try and keep it fun and light to the best of our abilities when talking about some pretty heavy stuff. The world has been really intense lately, kind of has been for the last decade, I would say, or maybe always, but more so these days as environmentalists in the United States. So, we wanted to talk about some ways that we cope with information overload, um, and just trying to protect our peace while also remaining engaged. Spoiler alert, we don't really know. It's hard.
We're not experts.
We're going to share some of the things that have helped or things that we want to try and some other people's advice for potentially, finding that balance in today's day and age. So before we jump into that topic, Maria, what is your hyperfixation?
Why are you flipping the tables on me?
I think it should be you
I'm
that
not
starts.
prepared.
I think you should start. I know you're prepared.
I was not
I
prepared.
know you're prepared because we texted and you told me what your hyperfixation was going to be. And I want to hear about it. And I'm impatient. So you have to tell me.
Oh, yeah, we're right. Okay.
genuine. I actually do want to know.
I know, I panicked because I couldn't remember what I said I was gonna do. So this will come as no surprise to anybody, and if you're a friend of the podcast, you know that we never shut up about how good the Aura Ring is. My hyperfixation has to do with Aura Ring, but it's actually the new updates that they've made on their app. So the Aura Ring is a smart wearable ring that tracks your activity, your sleep, and then takes all your biometric data and gives you a readiness score to determine how your body is actually doing.
Yeah, it's a pretty revolutionary health device that we both got on the train with. And we're both like pretty anti-consumerist in a lot of regards, but we are ride or die for the Oura Ring. And people that listen to the podcast are probably so tired of hearing about it.
Aura Ring came out with some new updates. If you listened to, I believe it was in our body image episode, or maybe it was in one of our hyperfixations, but I talked about how much I loved that the Aura Ring app was not really a weight loss app. And it's hard to find these days apps that are not tracking calories, not tracking weight, and doing all of that. So I love that Aura Ring gives you the health data, but doesn't focus on like weight loss.
It's about whole body, mind health. It's about all of the above.
Yes. Well, last week I saw on their Instagram that they had a bunch of new updates coming to the app. They posted having like a glucose monitor, so it'll hook up with your glucose monitor. And one of the app updates that they were doing was meals. And when I first saw it, I was a little bit hesitant, but they are not tracking calories. Basically, the stats with your meal, kind of. They give you a very basic nutrition breakdown. So, unfortunately, this does use AI, but you take a picture of your plate of food and it will automatically recognize what you're eating. So, I took a picture yesterday of my bagel with my hash brown and cream cheese, and it gives you a nutrition breakdown. Did you know bagels originated in Poland as a symbol of good luck and prosperity? So it gives you a little bit AI,
Oh, that's
but then it
cute.
also gives you a nutrition breakdown. So my breakfast was moderate in protein, low in fiber, moderate processing, and moderate sugars, but high in fats and high in carbs. So I did a really bad breakfast yesterday, but that's okay. So it kind of just gives you a basis of what your breakdown is that you're eating, which is exactly what I wanted because I need to start eating a high protein diet, which is not something that I'm used to, and I really don't want to be like this has 32 grams of protein and start really going on the numbers just because it can be triggering.
You don't want to be a gym bro?
I really don't want to be a gym bro.
Me neither.
So I'm super excited about their new app update and I use it all the time. And it also is tracking like the regularity of your meals too. So it can determine what's the best time for your body to
That's
eat, which
cool.
is really awesome.
Well, I haven't used this feature, so I've been like really excited to talk about this. And we waited till the podcast because we try not to yap too much outside of the podcast. We got to save it all up for the mics. But
Yep.
I think it's really interesting the feature I've read on Reddit. I do love Reddit. I love to read on Reddit at night. When I don't want to scroll, I like to read weird subreddits. And the Aura subreddit was talking about how people either really love this feature or really don't like it. And I had a lot of questions. I haven't used it yet, but I was thinking about starting using it today. But look what I'm having for breakfast. How would it know what's in a smoothie? Do you know what I mean? I have some questions.
Okay, do it live.
Should I?
Yeah, do it
Okay,
live. Let's see
let's
what
do
it
it.
does.
All right.
I think it's completely fascinating. I was really surprised with some of the meals that I've logged over the last couple days about how well it actually perceives what is on my plate.
I'm having a green smoothie. Take a photo. Your meal items will be analyzed. Analyzing your meal. It's also like almost gone. Let's see what it says. It's gonna be like you're drinking mush. Green smoothie. It says green smoothie. Wait, but see, but here's the okay, yeah, because here's the thing. It says green smoothies are a great way to hydrate while getting a boost of phytonutrients. But it says protein low. There's 20 grams of protein in this smoothie. Like, how would it know the protein powder?
Because it probably doesn't recognize that you have protein powder in it.
Yeah.
So
Well, how could it know? It's just mush. So I'd have to edit it,
so
right?
after you take your photo, yep, so you can go and edit it and type in with protein powder
Oh.
after it says green smoothie.
Oh, like just
and then reanalyze, and then it should adjust.
okay, adjusting. Okay, your green smoothie with protein powder offers a gentle start, supplying moderate protein and phytonutrients. Did you know that leafy greens are a source of vitamin K, which supports bone health? Okay, it did up the protein to high.
There you go.
See, that was my question. I drink a lot of like smoothies and things like that. And I'm like, I blend all the things up because how could the AI determine what's in a smoothie? Obviously,
Exactly.
when you take a perfect proportioned plate of food and it can tell what it is. But other than that, I just didn't know how.
Yeah, I it's fascinating. I'm a huge fan of this because once again, it's not really focusing on the numbers, which is exactly what I need.
It's focusing on like energy.
Yes,
Right.
and
Yeah. Now I'm obsessed. I'm going to log my coffee.
I grew up with everybody around me logging every single calorie into like Lose It or My Fitness Pal, so numbers can be really triggering.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me.
So I
No.
really love that they were very mindful about how they added this feature to the app. I wouldn't be surprised if one day they do add like calorie counting, but I do really hope that they would make it so you can shut it off if they do. But I really like this feature and I'm really excited to see what they continue to roll out because it's great.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to explore. I look forward to it. I just logged my iced coffee. It says meal regularity calibrating because it's going to take 3 to 7 days. But it says my wind down is from 10:37 p.m. onwards. So it says not to eat past 10:37 p.m.
That's so
Yeah,
late.
that is late.
What time do you go to bed?
Like midnight.
So like an hour and a half before bed. I guess that makes sense.
I mean, I'm usually in bed by 11, but I'm like go to sleep at
I'm
midnight.
usually in
Yeah,
bed by 9.
Jesus Christ. I ate dinner at 9:30 last night.
That's so late.
Yeah, it wasn't planned. I didn't mean to do that. I worked until 11:30 last night, but it was a weird night. It was a weird night.
Yeah, so my meal timing says I shouldn't eat past 9:20.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I definitely eat past 9:20. Like even if I eat dinner at a normal time, I definitely eat like a snack or a dessert. Do you eat past 9:20?
No. I never really eat past 6
Holy shit, I would pass
cuz my
away.
schedule is so flipped. So our alarms go off at 6 a.m. We eat breakfast at 6:20, 6:30, and then we eat dinner around 4:30 cuz my husband doesn't eat lunch at work. So then when he comes home, we eat dinner early and then sometimes he'll have a snack. I don't usually have a snack and then
Oh my
we're
god.
in bed by 9. So
So much structure.
I need it. I need the
I
structure. I
know.
thrive
I
on
know.
structure. So, anyways, that's my hyperfixation. I'm completely obsessed with it. I cannot wait to see what else they bring out.
Well, now I am too. I will be definitely texting you throughout the day as I continue to. The thing is, I don't know if it's healthy or not healthy, like the little low key obsession that I have with like pleasing the app. Like, I honestly think that the reason I started working out 5 times a week is because I get a little crown on my aura ring when I do, which is
I
ridiculous.
know.
I'm 30 years old.
I
Like,
know.
but I do like when it tells me I'm doing a good job. I like the positive reinforcement.
Yep.
And I don't like the negative reinforcement. Like when I was drinking or doing something way late or not getting sleep, and sleeping in like a random, hotel or something and not taking care of myself and the aura ring tells me I'm in bad shape. I do not like it.
I am the
So
same
I
way.
probably going to make me be healthier in terms of eating if I log my food. But at the same time, I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing that I let this little freaking robot have so much power over me.
I'm kind of annoyed because my activity score had been in the 90s, but then I had a really bad migraine that knocked me out Monday and Tuesday this week. So I turned on rest mode. So then it didn't count my steps and like didn't hurt my goal. But then I just went and checked and my activity score is now an 84 because Monday and Tuesday Monday I hit 1500 steps, Tuesday I hit 3000 I was sick.
See, this is
I was
unhealthy.
sick.
This is
So
unhealthy.
it didn't count anything.
We've taken it too far.
So now I'm kind of mad because my activity score is 84 and it's telling me I didn't meet my daily goals on Monday and Tuesday. That's rude. You said I didn't have to meet my goals on Monday and Tuesday.
Well, that is
How
rude.
rude.
I wonder what my activity score is. It's only an 88. No one cares about this.
We do though.
I know, right? Um Anyways, I will definitely be using that. That's cool. We love Aura. We need Aura to sponsor this podcast because at this point we've literally
Please.
promoted them for like a year.
Yeah. So, Brennan, what's your hyperfixation?
Currently, I, as usual, have a bunch, but at the moment, I'm really into my ginger bug, which I know you also started a ginger
Hell
bug.
yeah.
Maria actually inspired me to start one. I mean, I'd been wanting to. I guess I should start with, for those who don't know, a ginger bug is like a fermentation culture. It's a yeast based fermentation culture, which is um, it's like a sourdough starter, except it's used to make like fizzy fermented drinks.
Like
And
homemade poppies.
yes, basically like homemade poppies. And it's basically made with ginger, sugar, and water, like grated, finely grated ginger, sugar, and water to get it going. I'm on day 4, yes, with mine at this current moment. So you basically just feed it. If any of you have made kombucha, you know about the SCOBY life. I tried to make kombucha many years ago and I had a very tough time with my scobies taking over my entire life. They were literally growing out of their container, which is basically an alien, and it just stopped being fun for me and started turning into like a horror situation. So this should be a little bit more fun, a little different. And Maria started one, and I saw she posted on her story that she was starting one. And I had like a pile of ginger in my fridge, and I don't even know why. It had been there for a long time. So I was like, this needs to get used up. And then I was worried it wasn't going to work because the ginger was kind of old, but it's working. Um,
Nice.
People are so precious about like fermentation stuff and just kitchen projects in general. People will be like, you need organic, you need this to be this particular type of filtered water. Like, you really don't. 9 times out of 10, I think it usually works fine um, with the stuff you have on hand. I'm just using whatever sugar I had, whatever ginger was in my fridge. I just ground it up, grated it on a cheese grater, and then just using regular water from my Brita. So it's working fine. It's been really fun. I love fermentation projects. Maria does too. We talk about them often here and on our own respective platforms. So we really, really were overdue to start a ginger bug because I've done so many different fermentation projects, but this is my first ginger bug and it's been so fun. So I made a video about it, and I will definitely be sharing. By the time this comes out, I'll probably have a part 2 up about the ginger bug. But I'm curious to hear about your ginger bug experience.
So, my ginger bug video will be coming out next week. I started my ginger bug last week and it's already in the fridge because it is successfully ginger bugged. And my first soda is on the countertop. I made cranberry ginger ale. I did use organic ginger and I don't grate it. I just like cut it up into tiny pieces and chop it, which also works fine. Um and I also am just using regular white sugar. You can use it honey if you don't want to use refined sugar. It's fine. It was a lot of fun to do and to see the bubbles, and ginger bugs smell really good.
They actually do, and a lot of fermentation projects do
Don't.
not. So, it's actually really nice every morning when I have been feeding him. It's a boy. Um, I take the little cloth. I think we're doing different methods. I'm using the book Wild Fermentation, which is one of my favorite books ever,
I'm just winging it.
and going off of the Zero Waste Chef is one of my favorite. You know, we talk about her often. She has a lot of ginger bug content. I love her recipe. So that's just what I've been doing. It says to put a cloth over it. I notice you're using like a closed jar. Again, they probably both work. It's not a big deal. So,
I am just using a glass jar that doesn't have a rubber ring
oh, I
on it,
see.
so some air can still
Okay, good.
escape. But we also don't have issues with bugs or anything, so I wasn't worried about anything getting into the ginger bug.
Bugs
Literally,
in the
no bugs in
bug.
the ginger
Yeah.
bug. So if you live in a place where like gnats are a problem
Me.
or like ants are a
Me.
problem, then you should use something like a cloth that they can't go through. But I've had no issues with just using a glass jar with no rubber ring. It was a lot of fun. So I mixed up some homemade canned cranberry juice, some water, and some ginger bug and some extra sugar. And I've added it into my swing top bottle that is an upcycled sparkling lemonade bottle from Aldi.
Ooh.
And it's sitting on my counter, and that ferments for anywhere from 2 to 5 days. This is day 3, and I you have to burp it every day. So it should be done. I thought it was going to be done today. Alas, it was not. So it'll be done Sunday at the latest. So stay tuned. I'm
Can
really
I
excited about
can
it.
I make that with like store-bought cranberry juice? Because I have some in my fridge right now.
Yeah, yeah, you absolutely
Okay.
can. I just used homemade canned because I have it.
Because
So
she's the queen of the homemade kitchen restock. I
because I
think,
like
well,
canning.
my mom was visiting and left some cranberry juice here. So I will definitely be literally copying your exact recipe. So
Perfect. I will send you the recipe. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
yeah, I don't have a swing top bottle. Maybe I should go get one.
I only ever see people using swing top
Yeah,
bottles.
for kombucha, they do too.
So I think you may need to, but Aldi has the like sparkling lemonade.
Hmm.
So I just bought a
Then I
bottle of
get the
sparkling
lemonade
lemonade
too.
and then drank the lemonade and then you have it.
All
So
right, good
my
to know.
ginger bug is sitting in my fridge and it's basically like a sourdough starter. You take it out and then you'll feed it ginger and sugar once a week. And basically treat it like a sourdough starter. So I'm honestly surprised that neither of us had done a ginger bug before. I honestly didn't even know it was a thing until like a year ago, but I was so tired of paying 250 for a can of poppy that like I wanted to learn to do it myself
Yes, I
because that's
I
on par.
I love a little drinky drink, like a fun little beverage. And yeah, I mean, come on. You guys know this. We both do. But I'm I don't want to be a diet culture girl, but I am trying to not drink so much sugar. So, and my partner is very into soda at the moment. He's going through a bit of a soda phase, which is random, but I have been trying to find like a healthier one, like one of the healthy ones.
Yeah.
And he's always like, these are so expensive. Like, why would I get this when the other ones are like 99 cents?
Yeah.
So I can't really argue with that. So, as usual, I will be taking the most difficult route possible and make my own from scratch.
We like to make it as difficult as possible.
Everything difficult. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, we will definitely give that a shot. I'm excited. So, that's my hyperfixation and Maria's.
Always.
So, now we both have the same hyperfixations, the aura and the ginger bug. So, that's cool. I feel connected.
Aw, so cute.
So, should we dive in?
I don't want to. This is depressing. The world is depressing.
No, but the whole point is that we're going to not make it depressing.
I know. We're gonna try.
We're going to try.
Try to not make it depressing.
We're going to try. So, as you guys are very well aware, the world is feeling extra heavy these days. And I mean, I don't know. Is it though? It is, but simultaneously, it's also not.
I think because it's become our new normal. Like we just expect chaos.
It has become our new normal. And also because the topic of today's episode is how we want to like allow the joy to come in through the heaviness. So, yeah, we're going to kind of talk about the ways that we've been coping or not coping, and we'll just kind of keep it fully transparent and say that some days are harder than others. And we do not have it all figured out at all.
Do you follow Aaron Parnas on TikTok?
No.
He is a news person and
Let me look.
he shares videos that are like breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. And I'm so tired of hearing breaking news every single day.
Oh, so I shouldn't follow this person.
I love his videos and I do think they help to keep me informed, but it's like the New York Times news notifications. Like, I just want to shut them off, but I don't because I want to stay somewhat informed. I'm just so tired of hearing breaking news every single day, and it has definitely taken its toll on me.
I just followed him. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, I My boyfriend really likes watching the local news. It's like one of his old person quirks. He's not an old person, but he acts like it sometimes. And that is definitely one of them. Like he watches, I mean, he's a surfer, so he watches like the local weather every morning and night.
Of
So,
course he does.
yeah, so I mean, and I think the local news, it's actually one of my hacks. And I guess we're kind of diving into it like now. I didn't mean to dive into it so soon, but what I was going to say is like hearing the news every morning and night can be really heavy for some people, but I tend to think that it helps to like limit your consumption. So for me, my local news channel on our TV um is like
Mhm.
safer for me than it coming through my phone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. I feel like when you're on your phone too, you see a lot of the national news headlines, which can be
Yeah.
very heavy, whereas you probably don't have as many with local news. You have a lot more of those like feel good stories.
Well, we have them. Well, we have feel good stories, but we have like we do receive, I think, like vast majority of like the big updates in the world on local news, but it's kind of like tied up in a little bow and
Mhm.
like
30
shorter
seconds.
segments versus me falling into a rabbit hole
Yeah,
about like these horrible atrocities. I mean, just to like preface this topic a little bit, we're referencing so many things at once. I was going to say, like, what are we even talking about? But the thing is, there's so much bad stuff happening that it's hard to even be concise about it. Like, obviously, we're both very opposed to what's happening in Gaza, and it's very, very much at the forefront of my mind right now, and it's very disturbing. So, that really was one of the biggest triggers for me of like, okay, we need to like discuss this and also discuss how we're maintaining a level of peace when we're constantly being subjected to this horrific amount of very upsetting information, because that's new. People didn't used to digest this much information in a 24-hour cycle. It's actually totally reasonable that your nervous system would feel shot. I think just 100 years ago, people didn't know what was happening outside of like a couple square miles of them a lot of the time. So I think, I mean, that's not entirely true, but you know what I mean? People weren't being inundated with so much emotionally charged information. So I think maintaining our nervous systems and just kind of like keeping that level of
completely.
balance is very important.
I also think it's kind of sad that this episode, we're recording Friday, May 16th. This episode comes out next Friday. And although we're very upset about what's happened in the last couple days, I bet there's going to be even more happening next week. That's going to make us just as sad. Like, this is relevant no matter what's going on.
Right. But by the time you're correct, by the time this episode comes out, there'll be a new atrocity. I mean, I don't want to manifest that and speak that into existence and say, oh, some more terrible stuff is going to happen in that time, but let's just be real, probably.
I just asked ChatGPT how many days Trump has been president this year, and it said Donald Trump is not currently president in 2025. As of May 16th, 2025, the president is Joe Biden.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm screenshotting this. This is hysterical.
Are you for real? Wait, throw it away. Throw it away. ChatGPT does not know who the current sitting US president is. And people are literally putting their entire business in ChatGPT's hands.
I just sent you a picture of it.
That's absurd.
Oh my god, if you're referring to a hypothetical or future scenario, like if Trump were reelected in 2024 and inaugurated in 2025, that has not happened. If he had been inaugurated on January 20th, 2025, then he would have been president from January 20th to May 16th, 2025,
Wait,
117 days.
I'm in shock. What do you mean? You guys, stop using ChatGPT. Stop using it. It doesn't even know who the sitting president of the United States is, when all I could hear about is the sitting president of the United States.
So, anyways, my point was going to be that he has been president for only 117 days. We have a lot more days of his presidency to go and a lot more days of stressful news. So, this episode is going to be relevant for the next 4 years. It just is because it's only been 117 days, but it feels
Insane.
like it's been 5 years.
I'm still I'm still hung up on it not knowing.
Stop using
Is it
ChatGPT.
joking? Can it joke? Can the robot joke?
I don't know. I said, how many days has Trump been president this year? I'm going to respond and say, are you sure?
That's insane.
Yes, I'm sure. As of May 16th, 2025, Donald Trump is not president of the United States.
I'm speechless. There's no way. You,
I'm losing
I'm
it.
losing it. Should I ask it?
Do it. See what it does. I'm sending you the second response too. So, unless there's been an unexpected change to the presidential office, like impeachment, resignation, or emergency transfer of power, Joe Biden is still president.
This is insane.
This is so funny. If you're hearing otherwise, feel free to share the source and I can help fact check it.
How many days has Trump been president? Mine says, oh my God. Oh, as of today, May 16th, 2025, Trump has served a total of 1,921 days as president. So it's his first term. Wait, what?
I just asked who is the president and it said it's Biden.
Wait, this is insane. This is insane. It says his first term, he served 1,461 days. His second term started on January 20th, 2025. Duration as of today, 460 days.
That's not right. Mike says 117 days.
Okay, we need to throw it away.
Stop using ChatGPT.
It says the start is January 20th of this year. It is now May. It says duration as of today, 460 days.
Can you type in and say who is the president?
Wait, are we like learning right now that Joe Biden is president right now? Donald J. Trump.
Mine came up as Joe Biden.
This is crazy. Throw it away.
This is so funny.
Okay, guys. Well, further proof. First of all, outing us as ChatGPT users, even though we know it's so unsustainable, but now we're not.
I am shook. I asked 3 times about the president, and it told me it was Biden every single time. So basically, I'm never using ChatGPT for anything ever again. I don't really use it that much, anyways, but I'm just
Liberal propaganda.
shocked. So, can I officially say then Trump's not my president?
He's not mine.
Well, we didn't intend for this to get political,
Off the rails. Oh, yeah, we did. What do you mean?
But my point is that this episode and our different approaches and strategies to kind of protecting our peace is relevant at any time because we have another 4 years to go.
No, not another 4 years. We're down to 3.5 years. Almost.
You're right.
So it is obviously administration related, obviously. But outside of that, there's just a lot of really disturbing things happening that are not directly linked to the administration. I mean, usually they are in different ways, but just absolute atrocities and terrifying headlines coming our way on a regular basis. That's like what we're referencing here. And if you have struggled with that, if that's something that you've felt some type of way about, or you've felt that your nervous system has taken a toll, this one's for you and us, because we certainly have. So I wrote a newsletter that went out at the time of you listening to this. It'll be a week ago that it went out. But basically, the sentiment of that newsletter was that every time I check my phone or turn on the news, I'm just met with devastation and these atrocities just unfolding minute to minute, and they're delivered in like this relentless stream of heartbreak and grief, and I just feel this helpless feeling. And if you're a progressive person or an environmentalist, or if you share any of our values, then you know those feelings. So I was really struggling with how best to show up when I want to do the right thing. I want to speak out, but at the same time, I don't feel like just screaming into the void is often effective.
Yeah.
And that might be a little bit controversial to say in the space that we're in. I think as content creators in the environmental or, progressive space, there's a big pressure to kind of like share everything all the time, constantly be speaking out about things that are happening, and constantly be taking a stance and doing a call to action for every single thing. And although I do think there's a place for that, that is not where I have found myself in the past couple of months.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be fully transparent. I don't know if the way I'm approaching everything is the right way. I don't know.
I think there is no right way to approach it because I think
Right.
we get too political, we talk too much about it, then people aren't going to open their ears and listen. I think it's a healthy balance as a content creator to draw attention to what's happening,
Mhm.
but to also not kind of stress people out who are watching our content. Like we have to find that balance somewhere, and it's going to be
Right.
different for every single content creator because every content creator has a different audience.
Yeah, 100%. And there's going to be differing opinions on this. I have friends who've pretty publicly said that anyone who's using their platform to talk about anything other than this stuff is in the wrong.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I know where the sentiment is coming from because people are fired up and they're upset, and I understand that. I am too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just to get vulnerable, it's something that I've really been struggling with, of like how best to use my platform, because on the one hand I want to, live up to the responsibility that I've set for myself to use my voice and my platform to speak up on behalf of people and planet, and I believe that I do. I share my values all the time and things that are important to me and things that come up in the legislation for my state's environment, things like
Mhm.
that. But at the same time, a lot of us are experiencing sensory overload, and I don't want to be somebody's like last straw
Trigger. Yeah.
that broke the camel's back. Do you know what I mean by that? I don't know if
Completely.
people are going to agree with this, or if they're going to be disappointed in this. I'm interested to hear what they have to say, because I'm sure there's people that would say, like, something I wrote in my newsletter is that it does feel silly to share, yeah, like this week I'm posting like some of my favorite thrifted finds, and that feels quite frivolous and silly given the state of the world. But at the same time, like, that is my focus and that is something that I do as a form of activism. Like, it's all linked. On the one hand, I get a lot of joy from fashion and clothes. That's my favorite form of self-expression these days. But on the other hand, I encourage people to shop secondhand in a world where we have enough clothes to clothe the next 6 generations of
Mhm.
people. And I talk in my content about how shopping secondhand is the best approach, environmentally, ethically, etc. So it's nuanced, right? Because I'm sure there's people that see that content and are like, wow, this is out of touch. And then I'm sure there's people that see it and think, oh, this is interesting. Like, this is helpful. This is something we can do to stop with human rights violations that are taking place in the fashion industry. It's tough, and I don't know how best to show up, and I don't know what the right thing to do is, or the right way to use my platform is, but that is something that I'm interested in right now. So I'm going to stay true to myself and share it.
I think there is no right answer or right way to do it. And it's interesting because content creators have always been there, but I don't think content creators speaking up about what's going on in the world is something that's always been around. I think there's been a push since
Right.
2020, 2021 to speak up about what's going on. So there are a lot of people that don't speak up at all.
Hmm.
And I like to think that speaking up even just a little bit is better than not at all. And I think we have to also remember that content creators are humans too. There are some days where I have to put my phone down and just walk away because the news is too heavy and I can't comprehend it enough to speak out about it. I just can't. So if you don't see me talking about what's going on actively that day in Gaza or in some other country or what's going on here in the US, it's likely because I'm human too and I cannot wrap my mind around it and I don't want to share it to my audience of over a million people and say something wrong, say something not right, or just I don't know, there are just times where I cannot talk about it. I have to I
And you're
have
in
to
survival mode.
yes, I have to stay in survival mode and walk away from my phone just because I can't do it. So I think it's very important to remember that the faces behind the screen, like, we are humans too. We are absorbing all of the same news, probably even more because of how much we are online and how much we are just wrapped around all of the news. And we're humans too. Like, we have to take a step back at some point and be like, I can't talk about anything that's going on today. And one of the things that has really helped me and my husband and our household is that when those news days get heavy, we set a 5-minute timer, we talk about it, and then we say, okay, no more for the rest of the day. Like, we have to get it out of our system, but we have to focus on other things because this is an everyday occurrence and we have to draw the line somewhere of how much we can handle before we break.
That's probably a healthy way of doing it, honestly. Um, I think there's going to be, I want to start by saying the people in my close circle, generally speaking, they share my ethics and values. That's very important to me. Like the idea of
Mine too.
being close to somebody, obviously family and things like that. It's complicated. Everybody knows that. Not everyone's family agrees with them on things, and a lot of people, that means that they can't have a relationship, and for others that means that they put those topics aside and they're still family. I can respect both perspectives. I'm never going to tell anyone how to deal with their own family because family is very complex and difficult.
Very
um,
complicated.
Yes, but outside of, certain relationships like that, the people that I choose as my chosen family that I want to have close to me, they do share my values. There's differing levels of that, and I'm not going to get into like the infighting of whose opinion is more progressive than others. Like I hate that stuff. Like if you value people and planet, if you're a progressive person who believes that everybody should have rights and that we should be compassionate towards others, and if you believe in the protection of our environment and our ecosystems and you think that that stuff is more important than profit and corporate greed, we're good. We're on the same page. Like, I love having you here. You're part of the movement and you're my friend. Outside of that, I'm at a place in my life where I'm not really interested in getting into the nitty gritty of the ways in which you show up or don't show up. And I don't want to I think at this time, I'd rather not be divided with the people that I know share my values and share my ethics
Mhm.
and care about the same things that I do, in the sense of like, oh, you're not speaking up enough. Oh, you're speaking up too much. I'm not interested in participating in that. Because at this point in time in the United States of America, we have bigger fish to fry. Speaking up on who is or isn't a good activist or a good progressive person or a good environmentalist, like that is not it for me. That's just me. I'm just being fully honest. Like, I'm sure there's a place for that. People need to use their platform to speak up for good, but within reason, right? If people are, posting a Shein haul when the planet is on fire and, the on inauguration day, yeah, that, like, come on, come on.
I think there's a difference though.
Yeah, 100%. There's a big difference.
I think there's a difference though between that kind of content and the content that we put out that's not directly political or news based.
Some
I
of it
mean, there's a
is.
difference between posting a
Yeah.
Shein haul and like posting
Right.
thrifting stuff. I feel like there's a
100%. Well, I
difference.
I just think that it's kind of a heavy cross to bear, not to say, "Oh, it's so hard to be an influencer."
True, because we
It's
rolled out of
just
bed this morning and plugged
yeah,
in our
right.
microphones and
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying finding the balance as to using your platform for good while not overwhelming people and screaming into an echo chamber. It's hard to find that balance. That's all I'm saying. And I haven't figured it out and we're working on it. So, all of that being said, I think there's a place for protecting one's peace and helping others protect theirs. And that's kind of the focus of what we're talking about today.
so we've rambled on a little bit about the state of the world, and we did talk a long time about aura rings and ginger bugs, but that's okay. So we're gonna kind of rapid fire some ways that we protect our peace because there are so many different ways that we can do that, and not every way is gonna work for you. So I recommend just starting to try some things and then see what works for you and what doesn't. One of the best ways that we work to protect our peace is by setting that timer and putting a start time and an end time on how long we can actually discuss something, because we could discuss the news for an hour, but we would leave that conversation upset.
Once it goes off the rails, it's
Yeah,
off the
so
rails, yeah. I mean, well, once it goes off the rails, it goes off the rails. Um, I like the timer idea. I might start using that as a yapper. I would need
yeah.
10 minutes. But I think that's reasonable. I think also having people in your life that you do feel comfortable talking to about this stuff, like that you can yap. Like my best friend, we can talk about this stuff for a very long time. And then we can also be goofy goobers in the same sentence, which is very healthy in my opinion and very helpful. I have some friends where it's very heavy and very, very intense, and like that doesn't work for me full time. Like I can do that in small doses. Um, and just being honest with yourself about like how much you can actually handle, because your mental health is very important, and you can't be an effective advocate or an effective activist without, taking care of yourself first. So that's very important.
And every day is going to be different for you. I mean, there are some days where you could probably talk for an hour about something and really get into the nitty gritty, but there are some days where you're like, after 2 minutes, you're like, I can't do this anymore. So it's really important to be open with yourself and not over push yourself, because we have to be mentally well to be able to fight against this stuff.
Yeah, it's very important to take breaks and be honest with yourself. And if people in your life are continuing to bring this stuff up when you actually can't handle it,
Boundaries.
yeah, you have to be honest and don't be rude and shitty about it. Like, be normal. But you could be like, hey, I'm like dying. Can we make some dumb jokes? I think the healthiest, happiest relationships in my life are ones where we do have that balance. And we can act like complete idiots 1 second and make brain dead comments and then talk about the niche intersection of environmentalism and far right ideology
Yeah.
in the second breath. So having those relationships is really important. Not that all your relationships need to be like that, but I have been for 3 years trying to tell the people in my life that my focus at this point in my time on earth is lighthearted fun. And that's the terminology that my therapist helped me come up with. And that's been really helpful because it's not saying I don't want to be involved in things that matter. I do. If you know me at all, you know that my ethics, my values are the driving force behind everything I do. I don't think anyone could, um,
Can't
you
argue
know,
that.
argue with that. I'm actually probably too much so to some people, but phrasing it as such has been really helpful. My focus at this point in my life is lighthearted fun, prioritizing lighthearted fun. So, my friends and the people in my life, I want them to be able to come to me when there's anything going on with them. And I want to be able to go to them when we're having tough times or anything heavy or there's something we need to talk about or we need that support. But at the same time, your friends are also the light in your life in a lot of ways. They're what
Mhm.
cheers you up, what makes you laugh until your stomach hurts. So, finding that balance and saying to people in your life as many times as they need to hear it, my focus is lighthearted fun right now. That terminology, I think it's really helpful. It helps people understand this isn't about like, oh, we can't talk politics. It's
Yeah.
let's focus on trying to keep our head above water in this current climate with lighthearted fun. And again, that's not to dismiss the tough stuff. There's a balance there.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to find the balance, but you do definitely have to find the balance, and it is not something that you're going to be able to figure out in one day, and it's going to be different with every person in your life. So, you just have to try new things and try new strategies and see what works for you. Something I have found more recently that's more individual, that's not based around people in your life, is distracting myself in a healthy way. So, I have picked up new hobbies, and I dedicate time to hobbies
100%. I knew we were gonna talk about this.
always.
I knew we were gonna talk about this. This is so important. I think this is the number one thing.
Yeah, I think it's important to find hobbies that are not on your phone, that are not connected to social media, that are not in any way connected to, like, real life, which sounds very silly, but take up gardening, take
Disconnect.
up crocheting, take up reading, reading is very political, but take up something that is going to
Fantasy
unplug
reading.
your mind.
Yeah. Uh,
Something that's going to unplug your mind.
we're not talking about reading
Yeah.
socioeconomic theory. We're talking about silly, goofy little
Yeah,
memoirs.
is take up a hobby that's going to disconnect you and unplug you, even if it's just for a half hour. And this is another really silly one, that's kind of related. I've been playing this very dumb game on my phone called Bus Escape. It's don't judge me. Don't judge me too hard. So, it's a screen with a bunch of different colored buses, and
It's
I
giving
have to get all
90s.
the
I love it.
passengers onto the correct colored buses and all of the ambulances and fire trucks and policemen onto their buses.
Wait, I love
It's
it.
just so silly, but if I'm laying in bed and when I would usually scroll or just, like, after dinner, not really wanting to do anything, not really wanting to connect or do anything with my hands, I pull up that game. There are a lot of very, very silly
I
games
love
out there
that.
like that that are just, like, enough brain power so you're active, but not too much brain power that you can just, like, completely unplug. It's very important to me to get the different colored people on their buses that match their color. So,
This is so funny to me.
that really should be my hyperfixation.
That is your that's your advice for dealing with, like, genocide? You're like, "Play Bus Escape."
Well, when you put it that way, that sounds
No, no,
horrible.
no. No, no, no. I'm obsessed with it, like, because it's exactly what I'm saying, like, friends that you could talk about heavy stuff with while also making brain dead jokes like what I just
Yeah.
said. So, I'm not trying to make light of a horrific situation, we're just trying to survive. So, it is actually so important to disconnect and to find that time. It's actually crazy. I used to think that I would like get some sort of award in the suffering department for like being the best possible activist.
Yeah.
And for those people that feel that way and that is what is gratifying and rewarding to them, amazing. There's a lot of people in this world that are 10 million times better, stronger, more effective than I am. I'm obsessed with those people. I look up to them. For me, continually draining myself and going to every possible thing and having the biggest sign at the protest, it doesn't actually fill my cup. It makes me feel worse, which is not to say I don't believe in protest. I will be continuing to protest
Oh, 100%.
what's happening in this country. I have been and I will continue to. But just knowing your limits and we keep saying balance, but finding that balance within your own life can be really really effective when you find an organization that also has that balance to volunteer with. We talk a lot about like I work with Surfrider Foundation,
I
I go
knew
to the meetings, I
Surfrider would come
volunteer
up.
with them. Yeah, right, always. Because they focus on like positive things we can do and it feels really good to plug into a community. I think it also helps to find a way to give back to your local community or to give your energy, your time, your money to something in your own local community that isn't so heavy and isn't
Mhm.
directly tied to the stuff we're seeing on the news. So, for example, this is random, but I had some stray animals in my yard. You guys know this. Some stray cats. And recently I went and took one of them to get fixed and get all his shots and I trapped him and got him healthy and like that feels like very gratifying to me to do the right thing to like do a good deed to help out an animal also helps my life because he was spraying but of course like that is unrelated to the horrific headlines that we're seeing all the time at the moment, but it is something that needs to be done. And it is something that aligns ethically with me to take care of a stray animal and do the best that I can and rehome him, which we've done. So that's something that's completely unrelated, but yet is deeply rooted in something that makes me feel better and makes me feel like my time, my energy, my money is going towards something that actually impacts my hyper local community. So that's just one example. There's other things you can do, and you can link lighthearted fun in with your intense passions and ethics and morals. So, like going with your friends to walk on the beach and pick up trash here in Florida while we're just kind of being goofy and silly and laughing on the beach, we're also picking up trash. Those things can be inextricably linked. You can do both at the same time. I think that's very important to bring up. And of course, without a doubt, always comes back to this. For me, it's move your body. If you're feeling super, super heavy and you cannot handle all of the information overload that's coming in at you at all times, first of all, take breaks, like we've said. Second of all, move your body. For me, if I feel it, I feel it physically in my body.
Mhm.
If I've seen something horrifying about what's happening in Gaza on my phone or on TV. I feel it in my body. I carry that with me, and that doesn't work for me. I cannot live in this body in this world if I'm feeling like a weight on my chest 24 hours a day. The best way that I have found to get that weight to lift is to go move my body. So, do like a heavy workout, do a class, go to a yoga studio, do something, go for a run, go for a walk, go for a bike ride. Get out of your head and into your body.
That's exactly why I started working out. I mean, like a month
Yes.
ago, I was tired of the news and I couldn't handle it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go exercise and watch a YouTube exercise video in my basement because the world is on fire.
And it's, you know, physically proven that that helps
Hmm.
everything. And I hate when the science is true. I'm
The
just kidding.
girlies were right.
The girls were right. Um, but I also will say that is focusing on something you can control.
Yes.
So if you're not feeling good, what are some things we can do to make ourselves feel good? Drink a glass of water, eat a nourishing meal, get some sun, sit outside if you can, if you live in a climate where you can do that. That to me is night and day. Listen to something that soothes you, that brings your nervous system down. I know some people listen to like white noise, brown noise. I like to listen to this. This is weird. I don't know. Maybe some people won't think it's weird. The sound of like people writing on paper. I don't know. There's like
ASMR.
ASMR videos, but there's also just some videos that aren't ASMR. They're just like people writing on paper. That really soothes me. This went off the rails quick. I don't think people will think that's that weird though. Maybe some people have a sound that's very soothing to them. And just like get back into your body. So work out, drink water, like check in. Am I having a intense physical reaction to something because I'm actually not taking care of myself? Eat something. Eat something. Go to bed. Take basic care is like actually so neglected by so many of us. I had a meltdown yesterday and then I realized my period was coming. It came 20 minutes after the meltdown and I was like that makes sense. And then I realized that I hadn't eaten because I'd been running around with this stray cat taking it to all its appointments and I hadn't eaten and I had had 3 coffees and no food. So, yeah, of course I felt like I was about to just crash into a ditch and
Oh my
everything.
God.
It's like these things are very important and I know it sounds silly to bring them up, but it's actually something that we need to be mindful of. Just keep a granola bar in your purse, guys. Just do that. That's just a life hack generally.
True. I always keep like a protein bar on me. I really think too it's important to set routines for yourself. We talked about this in the beginning of this season because me being the overachiever that I am set a bunch of New Year's resolutions and one of them was setting a night routine and a morning routine. And update, I finally have a solid night routine and a solid morning routine. And both of them include not being on my phone from 8 p.m. until 8 a.m., which has been life changing, absolutely life changing.
That's amazing.
I
I'm not there.
sometimes I work a little bit past 8:15 to 8:30 if I'm, like, trying to wrap something up, but the second I go downstairs, I unwind for the day, my phone goes on the charger, and then I don't look at it again until I wake up at 6 in the morning. I double check that nobody was trying to get a
Dang.
hold of me or, like, there's no emergencies, and then I put my phone back down, and then I don't look at it again until I get upstairs for work, 8 or 9. So I worked really, really hard to perfect my night routine and my morning routine. And I've done a YouTube video on my morning routine. And I definitely talked about my night routine earlier this season, but setting a routine, I said it before, I thrive on routines. I need to have some sort of structure in my life, and including that I'm not on my phone, not scrolling into my routine has been life-changing. So, highly recommend. That's my next thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess it just comes down to setting yourself up for success. But I think we maybe should have started with this. But I mean, I think it kind of goes without saying, and I'll say it anyways. It's first and foremost important to acknowledge that feeling this way is normal. And
Yes.
it's absolutely valid to be horrified by what you're seeing and have an emotional reaction when you're seeing things like children being starved and protections for people being taken away and people being ripped from their homes and deported. It's not normal to be overloaded with this much horrific information, and your emotional reaction to it is 100% normal and valid. Having compassion is not a bad thing. We just have to look for ways to balance that out and live in this world. And that's why the title of this episode is Staying Afloat in a World That Feels Heavy, because we have to keep our heads above water. Like, a lot of us have families and children of our own and people that depend on us, and things that we take care of, that we have to fill our own cup first in order to be able to do that. And that's without even touching on the activism and the environmental work that we do on our own that we wouldn't be able to do if we weren't in a mentally healthy state. So it's okay to take time, take some breaks, do what you got to do. Your mental health and your physical health, of course, take priority. And you're not a martyr because you're listening and constantly bombarding yourself with information that's going to upset you and dysregulate your nervous system. We need to stay informed, and we need to be active, and we need to speak up, and we need to get involved in the things that are important, but we also need to protect our peace. And I think we'll be fighting
Mhm.
to figure out that balance probably for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I really struggle with it. It's been something I've struggled with a lot, but that's just a handful of things that we've learned along the way that have helped. And I'm sure there's things we're forgetting. I'm sure there's things that were not perfectly worded. But as
Leave
always,
them
you
in the
know,
comments. Let us know
yeah,
what other ideas you
yeah,
have.
let us know. But yeah, protect your peace, please. It's a tough one out there. Please take care of yourself. If you're listening to this, please drink some water right now, guys. Please drink some water. Sit down. You're good. Stretch a little bit. Oh yeah, water noises. Water drinking noises.
We're drinking water with you, okay? Ready? Drink,
Sip.
sip, drink your water. What is this?
Should we do breathing exercises?
Here's your 2-minute meditation. Breathe in,
And
breathe
out.
out.
Oh my god, people are literally like clicking away. They're like unsubscribe.
I would.
It's for the sake of comedy. Honestly, though, those meditation videos do slap. I watch them sometimes. The sounds of people writing on paper really do it for me, but an aura guided meditation, a YouTube meditation, sometimes you need them.
An aura guided meditation is it hits every time.
Chef's kiss. Yep.
So basically buy an aura ring and protect your peace.
The answer is consumerism.
Stop looking yelled at.
Oh no, we're kidding. We're kidding. We're kidding. Love you guys so much. Please protect your peace. Please take care of yourselves. I wrote at the end of my newsletter, as cliche as it may be, even in the darkest moments, I find glimmers of magic. Sometimes it's the quiet calm of my morning coffee under my mango tree, surrounded by my animals. Sometimes it's the feeling of sand between my toes or the stickiness of bread dough between my fingers. It's a morning stretch, a laugh attack with a friend, a bite into a cold, crisp apple. In this world, small things aren't simply meaningless distractions, they're reminders of why we fight in the first place. I used to think it was wrong to feel peace or fulfillment when so many are suffering. But now I feel that peace is sacred, fulfillment is fuel, and joy matters. And if anyone thinks that's wrong, I'm okay with that. Because this reality, broken and brutal as it can be, is still worth loving. The world keeps turning, even a world as painful as this one, and through every hurdle, we continue. I hope you find pockets of peace everywhere you look for them these days. So, yep, intense.
I love it though.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for being here. We love you so much. Hopefully, we can be your silly little distraction while also keeping you rooted. That's a number one tip. Just listen to this podcast and you'll be fine.
Hopefully, this wasn't too heavy for everybody. We promise we'll try to have a lighter topic for the next episode. But thank you once again to our sponsor, Flora Flora. Shop their sustainable products using the code SPIRALS15. All of that information will be in the episode description. And we will see you again in 2 weeks for our last episode of season 3.
Season finale. We're very excited.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I just gotta put her on my lap because she's starting to lose her mind. Okay, come here, hold on. Don't mind me getting my 55-pound lab on my lap.
Remind me why you want a second puppy?
Because there's still room up here.